Hey friends, welcome to Spiceindiaonline. This is Mullai Madhavan, and in this video I'll be sharing the recipe for a dry brinjal curry. This is a South Indian style brinjal curry where brinjal is stir fried with a freshly prepared masala powder. It's mostly served as a side for any South Indian main course like sambar sadam, rasam sadam or curd rice, but can also be served as a dry subzi for chapati or roti. And also, if you can make this masala powder ahead of time and refrigerate, you can whip up this recipe under 15 minutes. Now let's move on to the recipe. Here are the ingredients that you'll be needing for this stir fry. Of course, you will need brinjal. I'm using 3 long green brinjals. You can go with the purple variety too. No matter what brinjal you choose, you're going to wash it and trim off the edges and cut into bite-sized pieces and soak them in water. And this way you can avoid decoloration. For the masala powder, you will need about 5 to 6 long dry red chilies, some tur dal, some chana dal or Bengal gram, coriander seeds, black peppercorns, some cumin seeds, some urad dal or black gram, fenugreek, and a tiny piece of copra or dry coconut. Coconut is optional, it's only for extra flavor. Then we have some oil, mustard seeds and curry leaves for tempering. And then for the saute, you will need some turmeric powder, asafoetida and salt. This spice mix is kind of similar to sambar powder. So if you don't have the time, just skip this process and then swap it up with regular sambar powder. Now heat a thick bottomed kadai or pan to dry roast all the spices. To begin with, add the coriander seeds followed by tur dal and chana dal. These 3 ingredients take a little longer to brown, so we need to roast them for like 2 minutes before adding the rest of the ingredients. Maintain the flame at like low medium while you roast the spices, so that way they don't brown too much. And in about 2 minutes, you will see that they are like lightly golden, and that's when you add the rest of the ingredients, starting with fenugreek, urad dal or black gram, cumin and peppercorns, red chilies, and the tiny piece of copra. Like I said before, coconut is purely optional. Adding coconut will only enhance the flavor. You can either use dry coconut or copra, or you can go with fresh coconut. If you plan on using fresh coconut, then roast them separately as they brown too fast compared to these ingredients. Asafoetida is also part of this spice mix. If you are using fresh asafoetida, then you have to roast them along with the spices. I plan to use the powdered form of asafoetida, which you can always add it at a later stage. Now roast these over low medium flame for another 2 minutes, and then once they start to brown a little bit and turn golden, that's when you're going to turn off the heat and transfer the whole content to a mixer jar. After transferring, let this mixture sit for like few minutes or until it cools down completely, and then using your pulse option in your mixer, make a coarse powder. And also make sure that you don't make a fine powder, because adding a fine powder to hot brinjal will change the texture of your curry, making it more like a paste-like consistency, which you don't want for this stir fry. Always use the pulse mode in your mixer and grind it to a coarse powder. That way, when you add this to the brinjal, it will kind of coat it nicely and then also will give a crunch feel when you eat it. Now this is how the powder should look like. Make a coarse powder and set it aside. Now to stir fry the brinjal, heat a thick bottom pan or kadai and start adding some oil. I'm going to use about 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil for the stir fry. Either peanut oil or sesame oil will work for this recipe. And once the oil turns nice and hot, add mustard seeds followed by some fresh curry leaves. Along with this, I'm also adding a little asafoetida powder, and then we're going to add the chopped brinjals that we set aside. Squeeze out all the water from the fresh brinjal and then add this to the hot oil. You can also see here that soaking the chopped brinjal in water will keep the flesh nice and white until it's ready to be used. Stir frying the brinjal over high-medium flame will flash fry the flesh and also will brown the outer skin. Keep sauteing this over medium flame for a couple of minutes and then add about a quarter teaspoon of turmeric powder. Give this a quick toss in the turmeric powder and now reduce the heat to the lowest setting possible and cover this with a lid and steam it for about 5 minutes. Once that is done, you can see it for yourself that the brinjal is cooked thoroughly. It will still hold its shape with a firm exterior and a soft interior. You can just press it with a spatula and see whether it's cooked thoroughly. This may take a little longer if you had to use whole small brinjal, so adjust the cooking time accordingly. Now add the salt that's required for this dish, followed by the spice mix that we made earlier. Make sure to coat the spice mix all over the brinjal and stir fry over medium flame for a couple of minutes. Within few minutes of adding the spice mix, it will quickly curl up and then stick to the brinjal, and that's when you add fresh curry leaves and turn off the heat. And that's it, friends. This brinjal stir fry, which goes by the name Podi Curry, is pretty much ready to be served. Enjoy this over steaming hot rice with a dollop of ghee, or serve as a side for any sambar, rasam or khichdi or even curd rice. And if you were to serve this with chapati, it will pair well as a nice dry subzi. So friends, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please do give me a thumbs up and also do watch the other videos, and if you happen to like the channel, do subscribe. Thanks again for watching this video.